All right, Robbie G and everyone out there, it is Wino Wednesday.
Happy Wino Wednesday, everybody.
Happy Wino Wednesday. It is number 28.
28.
It's our 28th varietal of wines.
Wow.
Yeah, is that so crazy? So, welcome everybody. I am Gina.
I'm Robbie G.
Yes, and today, Moscato.
Moscato.
Come on.
Tropical.
Tropical Moscato.
Moscato.
What? I'm thinking, is this this generation's, here comes the bubbles. Is this just this generation's Bartles and James? Do you remember that? Were you too young?
That was my first thought. No, we had Bartles. We had Boone's.
Boone's? Was
Boone's
it wine
Farm.
cooler?
We
right?
had,
That's what I'm picturing.
Yes, it was. You don't remember Boone's Farm?
I remember the name, but I didn't know they did like a wine cooler.
Yeah, like fuzzy navel and all those silly flavors.
Okay. I thought they just did jugs.
Did they?
Or was that something else? I thought Boone's did like gallon jugs.
I mean, you might be right about that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I know they were flavored. You're exactly right. You're like, which is what we're doing tonight. And Rob, just like our Chardonnay varietal, I'm a little skeptical about Moscato. So I'm personally myself anxious to do this tasting. And I know this wine's been tasted because Sarah, who buys the wine for us at Del Mar, has tasted it, said it's spectacular. So we're going to find out together. So cheers to you, Rob.
Cheers.
Cheers to you all out there. We welcome you again. And let's see, I can smell it. We went with the peach flavor today, which the company calls Paradise in a Glass. It's kind of cool. And your shirt looks like you're on a tropical beach somewhere.
Thank you so much.
And the sun is, it's a nice day, so we're outside. So I think it's a good wine for this time.
Well, I bust out these shirts when the weather gets hot this time of year.
Yeah.
This time for the Hawaiian shirts.
It's
time for this.
It's time
tropical
for
wine.
the tropical. Let's see the Moscato. Let me take a sip. It's totally wine cooler-esque. Not that there's anything wrong with that, right? It's it's very peachy.
I have a feeling
sweet.
that this might pair really well with the cheeses.
Which is why we did it, because we thought it would. That it would be something different than your average, and it's something that I would never think to just drink on a summer day. But now that I'm tasting it, I'm thinking you can do a lot of damage with it.
Yeah,
So.
I feel like Moscatos get poo-pooed a lot.
They do get poo-pooed.
They get poo-pooed. They're almost like. Like a lot of people will think of, Rieslings really run the gamut from sweet to dry.
That is a super similar.
It's all over the place, but there's, I think most of the Moscatos stay relatively sweet. This one is definitely sweeter, right?
Yeah, and I think the fruit, it's 100% fruit that they add to this Moscato, adds to that sweetness. So it's something that I don't see drinking before dinner. But I see drinking with cheese.
This is more like a midday kind of drink, right?
Day drinking. This is the drink.
Well, the one thing that I do know about the Moscatos is that they are low in alcohol, the wines.
That's so interesting, Rob, because yes, this one claims a 5.5% by volume.
Yeah.
Everything else we've been tasting, the regular wines are kind of in that 11 to 14% normally. So wow, you could drink a lot more of this.
So that means you have to have 2 or 3 bottles of it, right?
Yeah. Let's see how well I do tonight, because I could do well on the others.
Well, so Moscato, that's just the Italian word for muscat,
Muscat,
right?
yes. Which I love the muscat grape. It's a sweet grape. You ever eaten them raw, Rob? Like just a raw muscat grape. It's an edible, sweet grape.
Well, because they're so sweet, and so they're used a lot as table grapes, but also used a lot to be made into raisins.
Yeah, isn't that so great?
So
the raisins, dun, 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 dancing raisins. Those were muscat grapes.
Wow. But the other thing I was reading was that there's a lot of different varieties, and so like one of the more popular ones is Moscato d'Asti, which is the one from Asti, which is in Piedmont.
It's
Piemonte,
Italy.
northern Italy.
Probably most famous, Asti Spumanti.
But then there's other versions that are less fizzy, like this, right? So they don't have to be quite as fizzy or Spumanti.
Fizzy. Yeah, this one has a little bit of frizzante, bubbles.
The word spumante means foamy, referring to the texture as well.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Spumanti's foamy.
Spumanti foam. But so there's a lot of different varieties of muscat, and they think, historians think that it might be the oldest grape that's ever been harvested. And the evidence is that there's like 200 different types. There's white, there's red, but there's a lot of different I guess types of muscat out there.
Yeah.
And so there's bubbly, there's still, there's rosés.
Rosés, all kinds. Very interesting. Now I heard you can correct me if I'm wrong, Professor, that they think maybe Greece?
Yeah.
Or I've heard Middle East, Greece, I mean,
well, so then
somewhere yonder.
The other thing is that the origin of the name, they're not sure about that either. So in the word is very similar to the word for fly in
really?
like Latin or Greece.
Well,
because
that's weird. Okay.
because it's so sweet that it would attract fruit flies.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so that's where they think the name might have come from. The other thing is there's a couple cities. One of them is in Greece. It's Muscat, or it's similar to Muscat, the name of the place where they think it might have come from.
Okay,
so there's a few origin stories that they sort of
for this grape.
bat back and forth.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, it makes sense. I have to tell you, I'm a super fan of wine tasting, and I love the little wine areas. Like, here we have Temecula is our big wine area, but if Ramona area has tons of little wineries. You've got Napa, of course, in Northern California, but you also have a Apple Hill area, kind of just outside of Sacramento.
I don't know that.
Oh my gosh, there's a wine up there, Rob. It's called Lava Cap. It used to be one of my favorite ones, and they made a Muscat Canelli. And now that I know more a little bit about wines and stuff, I'm like, oh my God, now I've learned about the Muscat, and I can taste that Muscat grape in here too. It was a sweet dessert wine that was definitely fortified and like meant to be dessert versus this sit by the pool, as Carol mentioned. We should be sitting by a pool. But it's fascinating.
What is it? Muscat Canelli?
Muscat Canelli, and
what
that
is
was Canelli was a type of grape. So it's one of the Muscats. You're talking about all the Muscat grapes. Canelli's one of them. So Muscat Canelli, typically a dessert wine.
I thought that was the dessert in Sicily, the cannoli.
That's a cannoli.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Can you have a Canelli with a cannoli?
That'd be the perfect pairing, would it not? Yeah.
Terroir.
But I believe that the most popular, or the most drunk produced Muscat is the Blanc.
Oh, the Blanc, which makes sense. Mostly when I see them Moscatos, they are the Blanc. But this is peach. George, hi George.
Hey George.
He bought passion fruit because this tropical company, it's Italian, grape, Italian wine. Peach, strawberry, passion fruit. Passion fruit would be great.
Did we have that at the shop, the passion fruit too?
I'm not sure.
Did you get it at the shop, George?
Yeah, nope. He got it at Costco. And I have seen this. Actually, I was just at a little Ravino, which is an Italian market here downtown, and they had all the tropical flavors out. I'm like, oh, we're going to be tasting that today.
So do we know is this from Piedmont?
Yes, Piedmont.
Okay.
And it uses the grapes from the Asti.
Yeah.
So, and they just blend it then with the real fruit flavors. So in this case, peach. George's case, passion fruit. So
we should say a quick word about Piedmont, and we've probably talked about it on Wino Wednesdays before. Did we do Barolo at one point? I think we did.
Oh, have we done Barolo?
I think we probably did. So Barolo is definitely the most famous wine from the region.
Piedmont. Oh, okay.
Barolo is the name of a little town. The varietal, the grape that gets made into Barolo wine is Nebbiolo. And it's a really dark, really strong, like really complex grape that can take some aging. They're, 13 or 14%, so very different from this.
Very different. I feel that the Barolo is like their Cabernet Sauvignon, their California Cab. It's their deepest, boldest red.
Big time. It's kind of like the Cab of
Piedmont.
of Italy.
Piemonte. It's a Cabernet of Piemonte.
Because so many of the other Italian wines are table wines. They're very food friendly, but they're more medium body. The Sangiovese.
Good for day drinking.
Good for day drinking, yes.
Good for drinking all the time, which is what the Italians do. I don't know how they do it. I'm learning.
But so the other city there that's really well known and connected to wine is Asti, which is the sister city of Alba, which is where the truffle comes from.
What a region.
All right.
I mean, seriously.
But Muscat is the name of the grape, which is grown everywhere. And it's not just Italy, but that's where it's most connected to.
Yes, exactly. And they do the most versions of Moscato.
Yeah.
So very fun. I mean, this is definitely, this is the picnic pool.
Fun. It's fun summer pool wine.
Yes. So we can pretend that there's a pool. Next time I'll get a little wading pool or something for you. Did you know that May 9th is actually called Moscato Day? Like, there's an official day for Moscatos. May 9th. So next year, May 9th rolls around, celebrate Moscato Day. So that was kind of interesting.
Wow, that's just after Star Wars Day.
You would know that.
May the 4th.
Okay. But if everybody needs to, I'll get the hook. Well done. Oh, well done.
Shall we
yes, tell about the joke. Don't tell me more jokes.
No more jokes? I'm not going to lift up the first one. The first one is the Fromage Brevity, and Gina can show
I'll kind
it.
of hold it up.
But the Fromage Brevity
Soft.
is the really soft brie looking one. Ours is, I mean, it looks like it's growing out of the plate.
I think because it was sitting in the car most of the day, which is going to make it delicious.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah, but that's the softie on yours, the Brevity.
The one that looks like a brie. The second one is the 4 Alarm Cheddar, and that is the one that is sort of streaked or infused with all of the peppers.
Yeah, this one is, you can't miss this one.
Yeah.
4 Alarm.
And it's in a little rectangular shape, or square. That stick is Parmigiano-Reggiano, a classic, and I have to say, with all the new and fun and exciting cheeses that we come across, sometimes the classics are just the best of the best. There's a reason we always have them.
Yes.
There's a reason it's the most popular cheese in the world. We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
And then the fourth cheese
Can't touch that either. It's
is the blue cheese. It should be obvious which one is the blue. That's Roquefort Papillon.
Papillon. We'll talk about what makes it papillon.
And this is a pretty funky plate. Wow.
It is a funky plate, but we have a funky wine, so we wanted to do funk with funk.
And all very
on.
different. We'll get our funk on.
Then we have the saucisson, the salumi. So obviously you know what the salumi, which one is the salumi. So this is just a classic kind of French cured meat, French salumi, saucisson sec. And then we have dried pears, because we're going with the fruit theme here. Obviously you can see that. Quicos are Spanish corn nuts. I think they're just a little lighter and brighter, but that gives you the crunch. Blueberries always goes without saying. Grapes without saying. We love, everyone that's been on these calls before loves rosemary with everything. So do we. And then finally, the jam tonight, you guys, is grapefruit rosemary, because we love rosemary. And then the tart of the grapefruit we thought would be good with the sweet of the wine. We're going to find out.
Very nice. My neighbor has it's a sweet grapefruit tree, which I've never loved grapefruit because they're just, I don't know, it's too bitter for me.
Really bitter, but I know what you're talking about. I think it's a pomelo.
Is that what it's called?
So good.
It's sweet.
Sweet.
There's a little bit of bitterness, but they pick them and I love
Devour.
them.
It's so good for you.
Them. I didn't know I liked grapefruit.
Yeah. Well, now you do.
Yeah. It's like when people tell me they don't like goat cheese or blue cheese, and then they try.
They're wrong.
And they try one that they're not expecting.
And they say, "Ooh, I'm in."
All right, so.
All right, Rob, going in.
Let's go in for
The not Brevity. Fromage Brevity. Oh, thank you.
Fromage Brevity, ladies
How
first.
very kind of you. This one's got a beautiful. Do you see the rind? Rind is almost brainy looking. When I say brainy, it's got like the little crevices. Do you see that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so
it's really good.
Cheers.
And mind the rind. Don't mind the rind. Eat the rind.
It is a brainy rind, and
Mm-hmm.
this does not look fully like a brie rind because it is more brainy than a brie rind would be. This actually looks like more like a geotrichum rind, which is
That's a good distinction.
Which is a type of mold that's used more for goat's milk cheeses. And so I'm guessing that it is either like a mix or maybe more of the geotrichum. How do you say that word?
I think trichum.
Yeah, but it's just a different type of mold, but very similar. It's white and bloomy. It just gives like a different sort of pattern.
Yeah, it's really great. It's super earthy to me. So, sheep milk cheeses, if you're going to go down the list of richness of milk, I put that in the number 3 position of the big 4 milks. Cow. Then you've got goat. That's going to be the least fatty and rich milk. Then it's going to be followed by cow, followed by sheep, followed by buffalo, right? So it's got a fattiness and richness to it. Now, this is interesting, Rob. Most sheep milk cheeses that I taste, especially the aged ones, the Osso Iratis, the Petite Basques, to me, they're sweeter. This one's a little barnyardy. Are you getting barny?
I am getting gamey on that.
I'm getting gamey. So it might be fun against the sweetie of the wine. Yeah?
Yeah, and this is very different because most sheep's milk cheeses are firm. Usually they get aged, and it definitely has to do with the fact that they're rich, they're complex, and the milk, because it's really fatty and gamey, it tends to benefit from time in the aging cellar. And so I think that's why some of the softy sheep's milk cheeses have a little bit of gaminess or barnyardiness to them.
I tell you what, with the wine,
is it delish?
It brings out more barnyard.
Oh.
So if you like barnyard, I personally think it brings it out, which is I wasn't expecting.
So normally this
Fascinating.
might not be one that we would start with, but because of everything else that's on the plate,
Yeah.
we are starting with
We are starting. So it's a wild plate all around. We're going wild to wild, not mild to wild today.
And the other thing I just realized is the blue cheese, the Roquefort, is also sheep's milk. So we have 2 soft sheep's milk cheeses on this plate.
Oh, which is so
very
rare.
That's really rare. When I do this,
Back up, bud. How do we do?
Whoa.
I gotta top you.
That was
That was
amazing.
bad.
That was very bad. Yeah. When we talk about goat's milk or sheep's milk, oftentimes I'll give examples of sheep's milk cheeses, pecorinos and manchegos,
Yes,
or the Basque
the famous
cheeses.
ones,
The really
yes.
famous ones. They're hard. Often they are kind of gritty and even crunchy with age. And so you don't. Feta is another one that is. It's majority sheep's milk from Greece, and it's softer. But Roquefort, and then some kind of random ones like this Fromage Brevity. This is a pretty unique cheese.
Yeah.
It's not really one of the classics. It's made by a cheesemaker who is in the Rhone Alps, which is like near Savoie. It's so kind of like the foothills of the southern Alpine region in France.
Yeah.
And they make another really famous cheese. They make a goat brie, but they also make a cow's milk brie, and it's really a brie style because it's not from the region of Brie.
Exactly.
But it's called Fromage Dauphinois, Dauphinois.
Fromage Dauphinois, and that is our number 1 best-selling cheese in the shop.
Somehow it always comes in with the perfect texture. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, and how does that
How do they do that?
How do they? Is it timing? Is it... I rarely get it firm, you're right. But sometimes, you've had the ones, Rob, that are the puddle. Like you literally cut the skin.
Mm-hmm.
What other fruit or what other thing? Okay, yeah, I know I'm with it. The Cadbury egg at Easter. You know when you crack that chocolate and if it's warm at all, that all the gooiness spills out of that shell? Fromage Dauphinois does the same thing on occasion, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you cut that right and then just everything oozes out, it's delicious. That's when I think it's the best.
It almost always comes in very firm, and because we go through so much of it, you know what? Sometimes we'll order. They come in these cases where there's 2 wheels per case.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll see like 20 cases come into a shop, and so, I mean, if they all come in together. And the wheels that don't get sold for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, those will be really oozy and soft.
Yes.
You know, and so it's all preference. I think it's really good even when it is firm.
Okay, you like it, yeah, and I would say good. I like it better when it's runnier, but you're right, it's good. And you could kind of almost say that almost all the cheeses, the runnier they are, the stronger they are, right?
Oh yeah,
you could really say that.
And the messier.
And the messier, most delicious. But that's when you take your baguette and you just slop it up, right?
It just always depends what kind of a mood I'm in. Sometimes I'm in the mood for something milder.
Oh, for real, yeah. I agree.
I feel like a big dork for saying that. Like sometimes, as the cheese guy, I'll go for something mild if I'm just not feeling it. If
You're
I'm
not
just
going for Vacherman Free Bourgeois every day.
Or Roquefort. I'd have to be in the mood for certain things, that's for sure.
It's true. That's why there's so many, though. Just like wine.
Yeah.
You might be in the mood for something sweet and light. You might be in the mood for something dark and bold.
There's a time and a place.
Yeah. For everything. I love it. I love it. So that's very good. Not much more to say there. I would love that. That, you guys, would be really good with the blueberry, I think. You should try it with that. I think smeared on that dried pear, also delicious. And with the saucisson sec, the salumi, because of the salt. I don't know. I think with the salumi. What does it not go with? It's going to go with the rosemary, too. It's going to go with the grape. The creamy cheeses, I don't know why they tend to go, to me, with absolutely everything. So easy. And maybe because it is just cream. It's adding cream to anything. So those are just,
it's almost like
parable.
Like a sauce or like butter.
It's a sauce for your accoutrements.
Does butter not go with everything?
Butter goes with everything.
Butter and more butter.
Let's have a butter tasting, just a little pats of butter.
Gina taught me the best trick, which was when you make grilled cheese or a panini, butter both sides of the bread.
Oh, both sides of the bread have to, yeah.
I was taught
Inside,
to just
outside.
butter the side that touches the grill.
Okay.
But now I know better.
No, you know butter?
Because you can never. I know. Oh my god. Did we switch bodies today or something? Like what happened?
And this is less alcohol. Look what's happening. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
What's next?
That's good. Next we went
Four
to...
Alarm?
Yeah, I think so, Rob. Do we
This
dare?
one I had to look up what the peppers were in it.
Oh yeah, do tell, because you can see them.
Yeah, so we've obviously...
smell them. It's smoky, kind of.
So obviously
Chipotle?
it is got all the peppers in it.
Uh-huh.
This is from Milton Creamery, and they're the one in Iowa who are Mennonites. So they're not Amish, but they're another sect of Mennonite.
Okay.
But they do everything themselves. I don't know if they're quite like horse and buggy, but they are very DIY.
DIYs. Mm-hmm.
And they probably churn their own butter.
Butter. Mm-hmm.
Butter, baby. This is their cheddar, or cheddar style. And is it hot?
There's a reason it's called Four Alarm, everybody.
Four Alarm. The spices in it, the chilies are chipotle, chili, jalapeno, and ghost. And ghost is really hot,
that's
isn't
the
it?
one. That's the one
Dare?
getting me.
Ooh.
The ghost has crept up on me. Ooh, but I love that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that is sinus cleansing. The cheese.
Oh boy! Oh boy! And I go back for more.
Oh no! Give me more! Bring out the bait. I try with
It hurts
sweet.
so good. I like it.
All right, these two together. It'd be hard to
good?
beat this one.
Oh.
Just saying.
It's gonna be hard to win that one.
I don't know what I just said, but it's gonna be hard to beat that one because it's so yummy. Oh, yay! 4 Alarm Cheddar.
That's fun.
That's a punch. Thank you, Ghost Peppers.
So that's I bet you this one would be really good melted as well.
Oh, I want to do this on a quesadilla.
Quesadilla.
What about a pizza?
Mm-hmm.
You could instead, because you will do sopressata on a pizza or calabrese, you know. What about this?
Well, we did the pizza. I don't know if we did it as a public class, but we did a pizza making thing with Chef Nate, and he was doing the hot honey, which is basically just honey with chili flakes, right, or chili peppers.
Oh, that's right. Mm-hmm.
So I can see like this on a pizza with like dipped in honey would be really good.
Oh, stop.
A nice mix
Stop.
of flavors.
Yeah, little honey 4 Alarm pizza.
Yeah.
And rosemary fronds. Served alongside a glass of the Moscato, because that's a delicious pairing. And this would also go good with like hot Thai food, hot Mexican food, right? Any of the spicy foods, because
it's a nice balance, right?
Great. Yes. I want more.
It's a lot of when you look at like those pairing wheels or the pairing guides, it seems like the white, crisp, sweet wines often are paired with Indian, Mexican.
Oh yeah, Indian.
Spicy, flavorful cuisines.
Yeah, for sure. Well, George and Carol both love this one. George remembers it from last time. Probably hope you weren't traumatized, George, from the first time you had it. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I remembered this
few,
one.
I forget which wine we paired it with in the past. It might have been like way back with Chardonnay, because again, or Riesling might have been back with that. That we paired that. But good memory. Good memory.
We've had a few of these cheeses from this cheesemaker, and I think they're mostly cheddars. I want to say various ages of cheddars.
Yeah.
From a few months to 3, 4, 5 years. But man, I like it.
It's really great,
it's
isn't it?
addicting.
It's super addicting. Like, I would just sit and eat a block. Like, I mean, that is awesome. And isn't it funny, Rob? You can like pick it up and kind of pull apart the curds.
Yeah.
Because the curds are just kind of pressed together.
That's a good
Isn't that
point.
so neat to see?
I'm gonna show. So
yeah, if you can really see that, and they kind of breaks into little curdy pieces.
let's. I was trying to think of a funny.
You were trying to think curd.
Let's get curdy. Let's get.
Get curdy.
Let's talk
Talk
curdy.
curdy. Talk curdy to Rob.
You can see the curds in that cheese, and so you can kind of see where they've been pressed together. When you hear people talking about snacking on curds, they're talking about cheddar curds, and so the cheese is definitely delicious and ready to go on day one of its life. It's not going to be super sharp like that acidic sharpness that cheddars have, but they throw salt on it, and the little curds look like popcorn, and you can kind of see the shape of them here, and it looks like they've been kind of pressed
like large cottage cheese curd chunks, right?
Yeah,
that's how I'd say.
There's like cracks, and within the cracks is like the pepper. It's like there's almost like a reddish color, and so I don't know if the pepper's bled or something through those cracks.
Yeah, right, and just seep through there. That's so super cool. That one. What about mac and cheese?
That would be amazing with mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese. I mean,
cheeseburger.
What?
With pineapple. Like I would do the sweet pineapple and then a spicy slab of this and then the meat.
And bacon. And bacon.
And bacon. Yes.
And a dollop of
butter.
Roquefort. And butter.
Can we do a quattro formaggi burger? Because you have quattro formaggi pizzas.
Why not? Why the heck not?
Why not?
Or how about the burgers where the inside of the patty, you put like a cheese inside the patty
exactly.
so it melts?
And so it melts into the side and creeps through the little crevasses.
Like a stuffed crust pizza from Pizza Hut.
a stuffed burger from Benissimo.
The bun can be stuffed and the burger can be stuffed.
A stuffed bun. Oh my gosh, too good.
So,
well, I love that. And together, honestly, that's a match made in heaven. Yeah.
Yeah, and cheddars are so fun because they're so they're stronger cheeses and you know, just like we were talking about, Moscato gets kind of poo-pooed on. Moscato's such a classic, grape, but cheddar is a classic style of cheese, and just because
you can't poo-poo 'em.
Well, just because there are some low quality versions of cheddar, don't let that turn you off to the whole style.
Yeah.
Because some of the greatest cheeses in the world are cheddars.
And you could go
aged,
yes,
and you can do a lot with them. So like there's other cheeses that I don't think are like, you would never see a Parmigiano-Reggiano with like added flavor in it.
Oh my gosh,
that would be sacrilege.
The Italians would make you walk the plank if you ever tried to do that. Yeah, you never see flavor infused Parmigiano.
Yeah, it's just not what it wouldn't work. Yeah. It wouldn't work because it's a standalone. Cheddar is just, for whatever reason, it's more versatile. It lends itself to more. I think part of it might be the texture. It could just be, the fact that like cheddar was not protected by the English, and so it's made in so many different places, and everyone kind of makes it their own
style.
Yeah, different styles.
Yeah, it's really the process that makes it a cheddar.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
But wow, that's a winner. Everybody agrees. Winner.
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 Cheese dinner. All right, so that's and I'm gonna eat that piece.
I know, I was leaving my hands off. I keep looking at it, but Rob was busy delivering all day, and he says, "I'm coming and I'm starving," and I'm like, "Oh, I gotta save the cheese for him."
She's like,
"But I'm dying here."
She goes. "Oh, I have a half a tuna sandwich for you." I'm like, "No, don't. You don't need
No, I just want to eat the cheese.
That's probably like your leftover lunch or whatever."
It was,
like,
and I'm like, "Damn, he wants the cheese."
You enjoy it. I'll eat cheese. I'm good with that. Okay, so the next one.
We're going to classic.
Yeah, so I was excited when I saw the list of cheeses today, because I don't know that we've ever talked about Parmigiano-Reggiano on one of these Wino
I gotta
Wednesdays.
look back. I can't keep up myself. Yeah.
Maybe we have, maybe we haven't, but this is Parmigiano-Reggiano, and
you have to smell this just before you eat it. Just do.
Oh, good. You left one
because
for me.
I did, and I will give you. I would even share some of this with you, maybe.
Oh.
But you gotta smell it. We can't even stop. And sorry, no time to talk.
It's crunchy.
There's a reason, like you said. It's the single most popular cheese in the world.
It is. It's the most popular cheese in the world. And when I say single most popular cheese, I'm talking about a specific cheese and not a style.
Yeah. Because the most popular style is
cheddar. And the reason that cheddar is the most popular style is because that includes craft singles. And then everything in between, all the way to the English bandage wrapped,
super artisanal, cave aged
farmhouse cheddars that go back, that are still being made the same way that they were 1,000 years ago.
Exactly. Isn't that crazy?
At the
oh god, that's so good.
At the we did the picnic in the park last week, and George was there.
Yeah.
And a lot of other folks were there, so we got to meet everyone except for Carol. But
no, one day we'll get to that. We'll see Carol soon.
In Del Mar, maybe. But we served a cheese from Quick's that day in the slider, and Quick's has been making. They've been farming in Southwest England since the 1500s. Yes. They haven't been making cheese that long, but they've go back.
Their farm.
Yes, their farm goes back to the time of Henry VIII. He was the guy with all the wives. Yeah. And so their neighboring towns were making very similar cheeses that go back further than that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you want me to sing that song? Oh, Henry VIII I am.
Henry VIII
I am.
He was kind of a mean dude, wasn't he?
I guess he was a mean dude, so that wouldn't suit you. Okay, this is amazing.
Parmigiano-Reggiano.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been lucky enough to go I've been a few times because it's the when we put together the Veni Voyages, it was the number one place that we wanted to take people. I would say
Parma. No.
I would say it's the mecca of cheese, but also of we call it the Holy Trinity.
The Trinity, yep.
It is Parmigiano-Reggiano, and that means that the cows graze between the towns of Parma and Reggio. Parmigiano-Reggiano. It has to be cow's milk. It's the region is Emilia-Romagna, and it's kind of like north central. So it's I mean we drive from Piedmont down to Parma. So where they make the cheese with the curds, different looking curd than the cheddar curd. They're a smaller curd.
Yes, teeny
tiny, which makes for a harder cheese. They collect all the whey from the process. They feed the whey to the pigs that live in the back, and those pigs become prosciutto.
Prosciutto di Parma.
So we've got two of the Trinity.
And what
then
is the third?
The third one. Any guesses?
I'm sure we got good answers here, but yeah.
Down the street, there's a couple towns that produce balsamico.
One would be Modena.
Yeah, Modena, and there's a couple towns, but Modena is probably the best known.
Yes,
and
the most authentic balsamicos come from Modena.
And they produce these balsamicos that are 12, 13, 15, 30 years old.
Can I tell you? Okay, in Parma, we were there to see the Parmigiano-Reggiano making, fabulous. And then we go to a little festival that night, and it's all prosciutto di Parma, and there's legs, just hanging out, under the tents, and they're carving off, slices of prosciutto. They're also giving tastes of balsamico. Rob, they literally gave us one that was 100 years old.
Yeah.
And I believe these guys that it was 100, and they've got this old crusty mug. I don't know.
Yeah.
And a drop. I mean, literally, they were, of course, when it's 100 years, this costs a lot of money. They gave us a drop. It was so amazing. One drop will do, and it's so good. This, I hate buzzwords, but when people say the word umami of cheeses, this is probably it, don't you think?
Yeah.
Umami is the word that captures sweet, salty, sour, and spice all in one. And you get all of that in one bite. And Parmigiano-Reggiano does that.
Yeah. And you sometimes get tropical notes, which I wonder, is that why we paired it?
Yes, it's exactly why we paired it, and it's amazing.
And that would be complimentary. So you sometimes hear like passion fruit or pineapple with Parmigiano-Reggiano, which is so bizarre, but it's true. When it hits a certain age, it just does that. The
crunch, the crystallization, so the texture, but it's still creamy, tropical, salty, not too salty.
No, it's not. It's
sweet,
and it's
not too sweet.
It's not too salty. Like Pecorino, Romano, and some of the other really aged Pecorinos.
Salt.
They're super salty, and they really are only good for grating onto pasta or veggies or something. This one is great for snacking as well, and that gets lost as well.
Yeah, everybody thinks of it as the shave over pasta cheese. This is an eating cheese.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We've got customers, we've got the guests that Rob have bought like a quarter wheel, an eighth of a wheel. Like that could be 20 pounds of parm. Stick it in the fridge and then just literally keep an ice pick in there and hack off little bites. What a snack. If you're going to do a midnight snack, Parmigiano-Reggiano is the one to do, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, you'll see it wrapped in prosciutto.
Yes.
With a prosciutto blanket and then a little drop of balsamico. Maybe not the 100
That's not a pig in a blanket. That's a parm in a blanket.
Yeah, it's a cow in a blanket.
Cow like that.
Cow and a pig.
Too. A cow and a pig.
It's a cow and a kid. Cow and a pig cuddling.
Like a turducken and a kid. Okay, we gotta move on. But something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, like, just to there are so many rules and regulations and things that have to happen for beyond the cows grazing in that region between those two towns. It has to be aged a minimum of 12 months. It has to, it has to pass all kinds of tests.
The production in the big copper kettles.
Yeah. The way, exactly. The copper kettles, the timing. So it has to go through all these steps in a very particular timing order. And then they'll take this kind of like plastic form and they'll wrap it around the outside, and it has the date, the factory number, it has the DOP stamp, which means it's official, And so you can kind of track exactly the day that each
thing
parm was
born.
made.
Yeah, so cool.
And then it takes a warm water, we call it a salt bath spa.
The spa. It hangs out for a couple weeks, isn't it, in the spa?
Yeah.
At least a week in that salt spa.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes.
and they'll actually flip it in this saltwater bath, basically, and that's how they brine it.
And picture this, you guys, flipping at this point, the wheel is about 100 pounds.
More than that. So
yes.
it could be even 110, 120 pounds.
Floating around.
Yeah, they're floating around, and so they are. And at this point, you wouldn't eat it because it just wouldn't have a ton of flavor yet. You want to wait. Then they go into the aging room, and these aging rooms are insane. And Google a picture of it. If you
Everybody's
can.
probably seen it. Floor to ceiling parm wheels. And how many? Like the one we were in had a room of 5,000 wheels of parm.
I've been to a few different ones, from smaller to huge, and I can't remember what the biggest one was. It was thousands of wheels.
Yeah,
it was thousands of wheels, and the one they get graded and they get tested. So every Sunday they have a machine that goes down each aisle and flips them. It's a robot that flips the machines. They don't work on Sundays.
Yeah, they don't work on Sundays either. Just like the Italians.
Yeah, and so they if a parm does not pass the test, like they'll hit it with like a mallet type of thing,
like to listen.
And if it doesn't sound right, then they'll scrape off all of the like the things that identify it on the side, the date, the factory number, and then they'll sell it to supermarkets as
it could
graded
become a
cheese.
shredded. Yeah, exactly. And it's still good. It's
still
just
great.
not the super quality that they're super after.
It would be more like a Granopitano or an Asiago or something like that.
Yeah.
Another Northern Italian, Piave Vecchio, something like, which are still great, but just not up to the standard of Parmigiano-Reggiano.
Yeah.
So they go on these shelves, and the room smells like what? Brown butter.
Brown butter. Yes, I would agree.
Kind of like, I don't know,
Hazelnut?
sweet,
I don't know.
nutty.
And then you still get that cream because it's a creamery. You get that milky, lactic smell. But wow, that brown butter nails it. When you walk, and it's open air, like it's in a warehouse. When the day we're there, so this is September, so it's 70 degrees, 70s. Doors are open, and they have got inventory in there that's worth millions of dollars.
Well, so to speak on that, okay, so the cost of parm price, the retail value is probably, give or take, depending on where you go, what, $30 a pound? I would say maybe more
for the super aged one, for the 36 months and beyond. $30
a pound, 25 to $30 a pound. Okay, so we'll just say $30 for a round number. Those wheels, like I said, weigh
100 just for
weigh
good
100
math.
pounds, and they'll weigh about 110, 120 pounds on day one. As they age, they will actually shrink because the moisture, the whey will evaporate over time.
Evaporate away.
Yeah, so a 3-year-old. Is that another joke?
Yeah, I was waiting. The whey will evaporate away.
It will go away.
Go away.
But after 2 years, it might weigh 100 pounds. After 3 years, it might weigh 90 pounds.
Exactly.
Whatever. I mean, whatever.
All
it
that
is.
moisture, just
And so you can definitely see and taste the difference between 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year parms when they lay them out. And so, but let's just say they weigh 100 pounds and they're $30 a pound. That's $3,000 per wheel.
One wheel, and they've got 5,000 wheels. I can't even do that.
And that's
math.
just one facility.
One place.
So there's everything that's labeled Parmigiano-Reggiano and has that DOP logo on
and
it.
you just you see the stamp. It says it all the way up and down around the edges.
No matter where you are in the world, it all came from that same place.
And that's got to be the most ultimately protected cheese.
Yeah. For sure.
This is like Rolex. They are protecting that name.
I remember the first time I walked into one. They told me, they literally said, "Be respectful," because you're walking into a bank, and this is like. There's so many
vault,
livelihoods connected to it, and it's, it's worth more than, probably gold at times.
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know what's gold, Rob? Eat the grapefruit rosemary. Everybody try the grapefruit rosemary on the parm. Is spectacular. And with this this is a killer combo. This is why the Italians do their little, aperitivo, which is, their before dinner cocktail, and a little sliver of parm. In fact, there's a aperitivo place downtown here, the Invigatorium, and they'll serve Negronis, which is the ultimate of the aperitivo in the Italian world with a sliver of Parmigiano-Reggiano across. How perfect is that? Isn't that so good? Try it, you guys, with the jam, and of course with the salumi. Carol likes it with the salumi because you're going to get more of the salt with it and bring out the saltiness of the cheese versus the sweetness. All good. I don't think you could put anything with that and not have it be delicious.
That's my jam.
Yeah. Here we go. Oh, God.
I'm so sorry. I couldn't help it.
I'm going to get you. I can do another one. That is your jam. So good. Parmigiano, we could go on for days, but it is a good, worthy, best, single most popular cheese in the world. Yes.
Yeah. And, what else? I was going to say something else about it, but it's, it's just, there's lots of imitators.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
There's, Granopitano, the one that I mentioned. Mm-hmm. It's different. Now, I hear people sometimes talk about Granopitano as if it sounds more exotic because in the States, maybe not as many people have heard of Granopitano. It seems more, it's less known in the States, but in Italy, it is more common. Mm-hmm. So in Italy, the difference is it can be aged for a lot less time. I think it's 3 months as opposed to 1 year. Yeah. It can come from 4 different regions as opposed to just one region.
Yeah. Much more available, right? I mean,
they're way less strict on the rules, and so it's this pretty much the exact same recipe. Yeah. It's just not as exclusive or elusive or as quality controlled.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I've had very good granas.
They're still great.
There's some delicious.
There's nothing wrong with them. I guess where I was going with that is sometimes I think people hear the name and they don't know it as well as Parmigiano-Reggiano, and they assume that means it's better or like more exclusive, and it's the other way around. Yeah. It is more of like an imitation, but I say this all the time. Imitation is the
sincerest form of flattery.
American cheeses are all imitations. American wines, American beers are all imitations. Yeah. They had to start somewhere.
Exactly. We're like the babies of the world. Yeah. So,
I mean, look at music. It's all imitations of.
Except we've been hip hop and jazz and country are truly American creations.
I'm talking about the people who have imitated those art forms, or like rock and roll. It was basically stealing from old blues, and you know what I mean. Like
we need to have discussions of this.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah.
But it's all you take something and you make it your own. You put your spin on it. Yep. And that's American cheesemakers. They do that. They either make the same style or they create some kind of hybrid American original, and that's the fun of it. Mm-hmm. But the cool thing is you can really trace it all back to its roots and the places they come from, and it becomes a lot less intimidating, or you feel like you can wrap your head around it once you start to kind of understand the basics. And same with wine.
Yeah. Go back to the Roman times too.
Oh yeah.
You can the Romans were hauling around these big old wheels of Parm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, so the more the cheese that really goes back to Roman times is Pecorino Romano, and that which means sheep's milk cheese from Rome. That's where the name means. Most of it is not even made in Rome anymore, which is weird. But think about it. So if you go back before refrigeration, what cheeses would travel? Really hard, really salty cheeses.
And so there they are.
So Parmigiano-Reggiano.
Pecorino a little more portable. Parmigiano-Reggiano.
In Pecorino, it's really salty now. It probably would have been even almost unpalatable for our taste. The one that would have been made a couple thousand years ago. They would have been so salty. Yeah. And probably Parma used to be. I'm guessing it would have been saltier back in the day too. Mm-hmm. So.
Winner. And with the wine, so the 4 Alarm was we've talked about this before too. Definitely a contrasting pairing. The Parmigiano-Reggiano, definitely a complementary pairing. And they're both amazing.
Good stuff.
Yeah, super good. I can't get enough of that grapefruit rosemary. And I already ate a rosemary frond, our usual thing.
Calm down.
I can't stand it. Yeah, I gotta calm down. Oh. I love summer. I love wine.
Who's ready for a Roquefort?
Roquefort? You've heard of the cheese shop skit. Everybody knows the Monty Python cheese shop skit, right? When he goes into the shop and he asks for cheese and he's like, oh, do you have this? Do you have this? And it's like, little Roquefort.
Yeah.
I love how he says that. Anyway.
Is he making fun of the French in that?
I don't know if he is. It's Monty Python probably, but
I saw who was the main guy? Cleese. John Cleese.
Yeah.
He's really tall. Do you know that?
He looks tall.
He's like he's probably 6'3" or 4 or 5
you're
maybe.
tall. How tall are you?
Me? No, I'm not tall.
What are you tall?
Are you
okay,
sure?
I'm super short, so everybody's tall.
Have you ever seen me stand up before? I'm probably 5. I say
you're
I'm
in
5.
the fives?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
My brothers are both 6 feet.
Oh.
I list myself at 5'10". I'm probably more like 5'9". And I think I'm shrinking over time.
Are you shrinking? Oh.
It happens. We're growing out this way. But no,
That's displacement.
No, I would say I'm probably average height. I guess 5'9",
right.
5'10" is probably average.
Yeah.
And no comments. But what were we just talking about?
The Roquefort and the skit.
John
yes,
Cleese.
John Cleese, and yes, I love it.
So I saw him. I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. I saw him. It must have been a book that came out that he spoke at USD. I forget what their arena is called there on campus, and it was one of those in conversation things. So he was being, the person asking the questions and kind of interviewing him was, Better Call Saul. What's his name?
Oh yes.
He was also in Breaking Bad.
Yes, Cranston?
No, not Bryan Cranston. It's the lawyer guy. He's an awesome actor. It's I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But oh gosh, somebody will think of it. Anyway, he was interviewing John Cleese, and it was awesome. And the thing that struck me the most, and being a Monty Python fan and all the movies, was the guy interviewing was asking him like about his comedic style and it kind of got into like Cleese's philosophy on the world and on life, and he goes, everything from that show, every bit of my comedy is just a commentary on how ridiculous life is. We're just these we're on this tiny little speck of dirt floating out in the middle of nowhere. It's all meaningless, and
now positioning it that way, that's funny. Seeing their skits and stuff, I can see where they're kind of just making fun light of
everything.
We can't let everything get us down.
Yes.
We just have to not take it all so seriously.
That's it.
Yeah.
How does the song go?
Always look on the bright side of life. Can you whistle?
No, I can't whistle.
I can barely. I can sing in a tune, but I cannot whistle in tune. Imagine this.
But he was saying that the whole point of Monty Python and all their comedy is just the ridiculousness of life and situations.
Yeah.
When you put it in perspective, it's so true.
It is so true.
We stress out.
We
over
do
the
stress,
dumbest
but
stuff.
that's the cheese shop skit.
Yeah.
The fact that you come in and do you have this today? Do you have this? This? No, we're out. We're out. Coming tomorrow. The truck broke down, which is. It happens. We sound just like those people in the shop. But he's just making fun that it's all right. Yeah.
And here's the thing.
It'll be good.
It's just cheese.
It's just cheese.
It's just
It's
cheese.
okay.
There are bigger problems, and I remember when I used to work at Mr. A's restaurant.
Mr. A's, yes. They were cheese connoisseurs.
Yeah, we had a cheese.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that turned me on to cheese back in the day. And I remember, I took my job very seriously. I was a younger man, and I didn't have the gift of perspective yet. And you would break things. Like you could drop a whole platter of glassware, and it would break all over the place. And I would want to cry. I felt it was the end of the world.
RPG.
Or I would screw up and say something dumb to a customer, and I remember one time I was just being really hard on myself and beating myself up, in the maitre d', who I'm still friends with. You know him, Greg. Is his name.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
To this day, he came over and he's like, dude, it's just fancy food. These people, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's wine, and if people are here and they can afford this meal, everything's gonna be okay.
Yes, life is okay.
I was like, oh, all right.
All right.
That was before I heard the wisdom of John Cleese, but
of John Cleese, who is 6'5", according to George. 6'5". So
okay.
He's a tall guy. Thank you.
And he was so funny.
Yeah. He's so funny.
Yeah.
And Carol's I agree 100%. The solution to everything is eat more cheese and drink more wine.
Yes.
That's my answer too to everything.
I just thought of his name. It's Bob Odenkirk.
Okay, no, I would never have. I've never got
Bob
it.
Odenkirk.
Okay.
He's great. He wrote for Saturday Night Live. and He was.
very nice.
Yeah, no, he's great.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't tasted the Roquefort.
You gotta taste it. Okay, to me, wow, it is. It's making my like not a bitterness, but I'm definitely getting like a reaction in my mouth, and I wonder if it's that Roquefort-y penicillium mold. Like, are you getting that? Like this acidic tingle? I'm getting that.
There's a grittiness in the texture. Like, I can see little. It almost looks like little stone, like little pebbles, like tiny little
maybe pebbles, yeah.
mini white pebbles in it. And then I get on the finish. I get a little bit of like a pepperiness.
Yeah.
In the back of my throat.
Yeah. Ooh. This is a powerful blue. Roquefort is up there. When you talk about like the Three Musketeers of blue, Stilton, Gorgonzola, Roquefort, this is the powerful one.
Yeah.
This one that packs the punch. Sheet milk does that.
Yeah.
I mean, and the amount of bluing, whoa, it is coating my tongue. I gotta go in. The amount of bluing, you can tell it's going to be strong. When you see a lot of blue, I like to say, the more blue you see, the stronger it will be. And that typically is true. Woo.
And it has the, it's interesting, like really, having two soft sheep's milk cheeses is very rare, and they have just, I don't even know how to describe the texture, but there is it's like a thickness. It's like a thick, more than like a velvety creaminess.
Yeah.
It's just,
It's
it has
very
more
creamy.
of a richness and a like a depth of texture than the other milks do. I mean, I guess it's comparable to some cow's milk, but there's a difference.
There is a difference. Again, the barnyardy, to me, it's a barnyard.
You can't even
comes through.
compare it to goat's milk.
Yeah, this one is really, to me, a little clashy with the wine, which I'm surprised because typically you serve a blue cheese with, say, port, Sauterne, the fortified sweet wine. I expected this one to be totally like this harmonious thing, but I think it's a little clashy, personally. George thinks it's good with the chocolate, which we haven't got to, George. You're jumping right to dessert, and I like that. But the blue should be good with the chocolate. We're going to try that, too. I don't know what everybody else thinks with how it goes with the wine. Fascinating.
You know,
my expectations are always different once I really do taste it. And it's just my personal opinion.
But you just have to taste, because I would definitely say that blue cheeses are always any of the guides, the pairing guides or wheels, anything like that, always says blue cheeses with sweet dessert.
Always.
That's the number one thing. You have to be careful with blue cheeses if you're pairing with if you're pairing with red wines, because they can clash as well. And I wonder if in this case you have a couple things. You have the texture, right? You have a little bit of texture with the soft cheeses, but then is the sweetness, is the like the balance of the wine, is it not standing up to the cheese? Is the cheese way too strong for it? Because it is sort of a lighter, milder, and that could
It might be, but something is they're knocking each other out in the wrong way to me. Fascinating. I would never have expected it. Huh. I'm gonna go back in because I love Roquefort and I'm loving it on its own. I think you're gonna do. Rob's making like a s'more. What if you made a s'more instead of a marshmallow? You did
with blue cheese. What else goes on the s'more? Graham cracker?
Graham cracker and chocolate.
Hey, we had that at the picnic.
We did.
We? Yeah.
But what if it's blue cheese? I'm just saying.
Where's your blowtorch?
I'll go get it. But with the chocolate. So remember the Rogue Creamery in Oregon makes blue cheese chocolate truffles that they sell in their little shop. It's really good. What do you think? Like salted chocolate.
Great finish on it.
Is it?
Yeah. At first I was afraid for a second that the blue was going to overwhelm.
And it wasn't. Okay.
No. At first it's a little bit kind of iffy, and then at the end the chocolate and the mango comes out, and it really like gives a nice perfect, to me it's like a nice balance at the end.
That's a nice combo of the sweet with the salty blue.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Thanks,
That
George.
I love. Mango, dark chocolate with the Roquefort. Now I'm going to do it with the wine. And that is fascinating. George thought that the chocolate made the wine less sweet. And that is interesting. It kind of does that. I wonder because the chocolate's so sweet? I don't know.
Probably.
That's a fascinating thing with the taste buds. How that works. But wow, that is fun. Actually, I just like the chocolate with the blue on its own.
Yeah.
I love it. You know what else, though? I also love, if you do like a poached pear, you know that's a big dessert. And they'll often poach a pear in port wine, and bake it, it turns the color. But I think just taking the pear and dipping it, into the blue cheese, smearing it on there is a delicious idea. Because pear and blue cheese to me are the killer
It's a
fruit and cheese combo.
What about walnut?
Walnut and blue cheese or date. You always get like date wrapped,
pecan
like with the blue cheese.
No?
Can that go with the blue?
Are we not allowed?
I think I would do it. The walnut, I think, takes precedent. I don't know why, but
we get
the pecan
these
would be good.
candied pecans with blue are phenomenal to die for. The blue, so the classic Stilton blue, that's the English blue cheese, gets paired with port, and you were talking about that. The French Roquefort gets paired with Sauterne, which is that's like the French equivalent of port, which is from Bordeaux.
What about Gorgonzola? What's the Italian sweet wine that they would put with that?
Moscato.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
like a Muscat Canelli that's really a dessert sweet.
Because it's made in so many different ways, I would say like a fortified Moscato. And the fortified wines, the dessert wines, a little bit goes a long way. They come in those smaller bottles, but they're usually high alcohol, kind of syrupy. But the idea is that the strong flavor and the alcohol will balance out the really strong cheese. And speaking of Mr. A's, I remember we used to serve. The chef was French, and so they would do the cheese at the end of the meal with dessert wines and
it's
really
my favorite dessert.
Yeah, really
little
rich.
Sliver of chocolate.
Yeah, just a little bit of everything, just to kind of like end up. But a little bit goes a long way, and that is a time I was talking about mild cheese versus heavier, stronger cheeses. At the end of the meal, if it's like a dessert, and then I'm gonna have the strongest of the strong.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Like, that's kind of when you want that punch.
Yeah.
Or washed rinds. The stinky ones tend to be that same,
really aged cheeses, Goudas, Parms.
Yes, exactly.
And then with like the honey and the nuts and all that stuff. As opposed to like a table cheese that I'm just lopping off and eating a half a pound at a time.
Because you did that at dinner.
Yeah.
Now you just need dessert.
I've been known to have cheese appetizer, cheese dinner, then cheese dessert.
And a cheese, of course.
Why not?
Hello. No, all good. Well, this was really great. My two favorites were the middle two, the Four Alarm and the Parmigiano.
I might have to agree with you on that.
Today.
I might just be more of a firm cheese kind of guy. I don't usually go after the softies.
Yeah.
I liked them all.
Yeah, me too.
The Fromage Brevity, which was the double cream sheep's milk, the first one, that's one that I'd never bring home.
Yeah.
I never bring home
a wedge of that.
I don't do triple creams, double creams, bries a lot. If I do anything like that, it's usually a camembert or the Brie de Meaux.
So those are
but they're kind of in the
earthy,
stinky
pungent category. Yeah, so good. But awesome, everyone.
But I like that guy. When I come here, I'm like geared up. I'm ready to taste everything. So this was
and to do things, even us, that we don't always normally do. Because like you said, you gravitate to your favorites every time.
Yeah.
Even at the shop, I'm like, oh, let me nibble this for the 100th time instead of trying this one.
I'm always going for Comte. Always Comte and Alpines.
Okay. Yeah, well, Alpines.
I try to say that I like I'll catch myself saying, oh, I like such and such cheese.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, wait, what's my motivation? Do I want them to think that I'm like a
stud?
Do I want people to think that I have really good taste, or am I being honest? Am I being honest about what do I gravitate towards?
Yes.
I need to be honest.
Right.
Same with music too.
Oh,
If I'm flipping through the channels and
Taylor
I hear
Swift comes
a
on.
horrible pop song and I like it and I'm grooving out, then I like that.
Yes.
And I can't.
But it's hard to admit it to some people.
It's embarrassing.
Right.
But Gina, I like pop music. I like Taylor Swift.
You do. So yes. And
so
good,
what?
You go.
I do, and
right,
I like.
You have to admit it. You like Taylor Swift and Fromage Dauphinois.
Yeah, and I like some. I like some bad, some stupid comedies. If
it's good.
If it makes you feel good, then by all means.
ABBA. I love ABBA.
Like a couple ABBA songs, but I'm not a huge ABBA fan.
This is the day to admit your what are the guilty pleasures?
Oh,
your guilty, know.
We should do a guilty pleasure episode. We should go back to some of those.
We're going to, yes, in fact, so a little bit of a change. So we're going to, Wino Wednesdays are going to stay virtual just so everyone can relax, kick back at home, put their feet up. They're going to be once a month. And you're right, we're still going to do varietals, but we're going to add a twist, like Rob said. And I love the guilty pleasures. There we go. And so there'll be little twisty things that we're going to add to it. So the next one, actually, we're going to go red wine again. That's August 4th, 2 weeks from today. And we're going Cabernet Franc.
Okay.
Because that's different.
Yeah.
Than Cabernet Sauvignon and whatever's. Yeah.
And it's, I know that's one that's been around forever. It's a...
Well, I have to tune in to find out.
It's a father, big father
of the bride. But thanks, everybody, as usual. Enjoy the rest of this lovely evening. Put this back in the fridge. You know what? If you don't drink it all, cap it back because we've got the lovely little cap. You know what you could do with this? Make a sangria.
Ah, good call.
Make an Italian spritzer. You know, there's the Aperol spritz, which you'd put Aperol in this. But I heard that sometimes they'll put like the Elder Saint Germain. You can put in it. You can do vodka in this. But it can kind of be a mixing little spritzer thing. Prosecco, just to give it a hint of sweet, and then or even sparkling water to lighten it up.
How about a drop of 100-year Balsamico?
It'd be delicious.
You could actually
do that. A little floater
on
there, a little float.
They would do. You made me think of something else.
Sorry.
They would do when we would go to the Balsamico places. They would literally drop
a dropper
in a soda water, like in a seltzer. They would drop just like a one drop, and it would change the whole flavor. It would be like you're drinking a soda.
I'm gonna go try that.
Yeah.
Try that at home, everyone. Drop of Balsamico in the Moscato.
Good Balsamico.
Yes, I've got some. Want to try it? On that note, Carol, George, the rest of you out there, thank you. Have a good night. What do we say? Arrivederci. Until next time.
Peace out.
You're welcome. Peace out. And see you all soon. Take care. Ciao.
Bye.